Greetings, YouTubers and malefactors. We're back here at Stop Logic Motorsports, and well, I've come across a little bit of a dilemma here in Texas. Apparently it's been so hot lately that most of the tracks here have been closing down on Sundays, which is usually my free day to ride. And I've been a little busy on Saturdays. Hey, what's up, feller? Go on. And, well, kind of a personal update. The closing on my house hasn't entirely been moving forward smoothly. It's been delayed a time or two, and quite honestly, it's starting to make it very difficult for me to be able to do much of anything. Eating and paying bills has become somewhat of a challenge. So taking all this into consideration and me dealing with this mysterious wear issue on the WR250R's swing arm and chain slider, have been a little bit grounded lately. So until hopefully this Tuesday the house actually closes and these guys get across the finish line and I can start riding regularly-ish again, depending on weather closures. Now, to take this in mind, the Texas area has been under a huge heat wave the last couple months. So almost every day has been between 104 and 110 degrees out here in the DFW area. So it's been a whoa. Oh, a lot of little ants there, and apparently my cover got a little damaged. Apparently I need to do a little bit of cover work. Dang, that's a sturdy rear shock. So with a limited amount of money, I haven't really been able to put the time and money into this bike that I've been wanting to. But we're going to do a couple of things to it here shortly. I was considering just taking a break on content for a bit until I had everything settled, but it's really not my style. If I can do something productive, I will do something productive. So I'm going to try and address the chain adjustment issue on this bike, and also looks like my Go Race deal is a little leaky. So I'm gonna wipe that down and mess with the suspension. We're gonna do a little bit of basic maintenance. I know this is hardly the exciting video most people like, and well, I'm not really known for excitement anyway. And I'm gonna outline kind of what we're gonna do with this bike. Since I don't have really a clean environment to work in, I don't want to disassemble the engine here in the backyard unless it's like parts that aren't very susceptible to wear. So this bike is going to be going into the shop probably Tuesday. We're going to be doing new tires, new front bearings, and I'm going to have the shop tear down the engine and see if there's any sort of like major issues with like the crank or crank seals or anything of that nature. Just do a general health of the bike. Because I plan to actually, if it's in great shape, I plan to do a lot of work to this bike. If the engine's in need of some work, I'm going to have the shop handle all of the deep engine repair because I don't want to get yard and everything. So that's going to be kind of Tuesday's plan. I just want to see where the bike stands as far as like its general health and everything. But in the interim, I'm going to remove these Pro Taper bars and replace them with my Fast Flex. And we'll do a little experiment because I also have a set of Fast Flex bar dampers. This bike vibrates quite a bit, so we're going to do a little experiment to see how much of a difference the Fast Flex bar dampers work versus just the regular Fast Flex bars. So I'm just kind of curious about that myself. And we still have the same vibration tracking software that we had. Come on, fellas. The same vibration tracking software that we had when we did the kinetic sand experiment. The other thing is, I'm really dying to get this WR out because I have this brand new D606 and I haven't ridden on one in a while. I want to try and get a bit of a feel for what this tire's like. And on this bike, we're trying out the Shinko MX216 fatty front and the MX216 rear, which after seeing the 216 rear again in person, I'm a little bit skeptical of it, but we'll give it a good shot. Anyhow, I'm gonna get some cleaning supplies and start working on this bike and get the chain slack set, and then do a little bit of stuff to this one. Back in a few. I must admit, it gives me no sense of satisfaction to have someone else work on my stuff. But, oh man, that's a tight fit. Just want to see how bad this shock weep is. Okay, so we've wiped it down. Okay, it's not that bad. It's just a little dirty. So the other deal is, and if you downloaded the old service manual from the 2008 for the chain slider for free, the way they tell you to do the chain adjustments wrong, and it'll result in you wearing these sliders out. I'm working on hardening the wear spot on the swing arm. So far it's just light damage, but I want to prevent that. I'm still sussing out a system that works for that. But the way you adjust it is you adjust it with the bike on the stand, and then at a point roughly 165 centimeters. So if you're looking at your tire safety deal where this 3 is on it, you pull up right at the 3, and then the next link back you measure 8 to 13 millimeters of slack. So roughly ½ inch of slack. The other way you would check it is 6.5 inches from the center line of this bolt right here. 6.5 inches from there basically comes to that 3. So you would want to mark that out. My chain is a little tight, so 13 millimeters down there would mean the chain slack is actually really tight. 13 is the tight side. Since you're doing it kind of in reverse, the 8 millimeters means that your chain be looser. So I'm going to shoot roughly for 10 millimeters. That way, if it does get a little more slack on me, we'll have a bit of space to grow, so to speak. We'll see what goes on. I don't really want to destroy this tire running a bunch of street, because I really want to get it out on the dirt before I start messing with it. But these D606s last quite a while, and I am really curious to see how this stacks up against the Tusk D Sport, because I haven't ridden a D606 years. Funny story, when I was a kid, to get more life out of his tires, my dad would actually, on his DR350 and XR660, would buy dual sport tires because he only wanted to change tires once a season. Back then the sport was a little more accessible to people not of gigantic financial means, but we were still pretty strapped as is. We were, on the poorer side of things. So he would do a whole season on a dual sport tire. It's kind of a funny memory. And actually, the D606 was the dual sport tire he used to use. This thing would last 16 races. That's quite a tire in the dirt. Anywho, we're gonna move to our second victim now. And start working on the YZ over here. Now there's a part of me that thinks maybe I should just wait until it's one soft suspension. Funny enough, it handles really well. But there's a part of me that thinks maybe I should go ahead and wait on the handlebars until I actually take it into the shop and everything, but I don't know, even if the shop gives me bad news, it's not like I'm going to turn around and sell this. It just means that my other plans of slapping on an E-start and maybe something a little fancy on this clutch side might be a bit delayed. We'll go for it. Hey man, that's my bike. Go find a tree. There's like tons of them out here, man. I don't get no respect even from my own dogs. Oh, thank goodness. I was afraid that wasn't going to be already pre-cut. Now these Pro Taper grips are nice, but I have my dual sport grips, so I'm doing everything I can on this bike to fight the vibration. And apparently, oh gross. Apparently, the YZ250 does have a lot of vibration to it. I was told just to expect this because this isn't a KTM, it's not counterbalanced, and if you want a bike that doesn't vibrate, you should just give up, sell the YZ and get a KTM. Well, I appreciate that feedback. However, I'm not really interested in owning a KTM. Nothing against KTMs, they're not bad bikes, they're great bikes. Heck, for the money. I mean, there's a reason they're #1 now. And it's not because people just think the color orange is a great color. But to be honest, I have no interest really in running a KTM. Not really, it's not really my brand of bike. Every time I've owned a KTM, it's like me owning a Dodge product. For some reason, I just have like the worst luck with them. So before I did moto vlogging, I had a KTM 690 for 6 weeks, a whole 6 weeks. I rode it a total of 2 times in 6 weeks because it had catastrophic engine failure twice. So I had gotten that run of the 2016 KTM 690 that had the cam tensioner issues and cam journal issues. So I rode it out of the shop and went about 5 miles, and the engine grenaded on me on Highway 35 on the way back to Hutto from Austin. Now, as you might be able to guess, I was a little distraught over that. Maybe distraught would be kind of an understatement. So I took it back to the shop, and the parts took like 7 weeks to get in. No, not 7 weeks. It was actually 3.5 weeks. I'm being a little facetious here. Parts took about 3.5 weeks to get in, and they rebuilt my engine at, you know, under warranty and everything. And Took the bike back out from the shop. Was about halfway on the Hutto and just put 10 miles on a freshly rebuilt engine, taking it easy. I mean, I was keeping the throttle to a third of a throttle or less, doing the full braking procedure. And I was riding down the road and the rear end locks up again on me. I'm like, okay, what's going on here, guys? Engine wouldn't turn over. And I look at the bottom of the case and it's blown about a 2-finger size hole in it. Well, the crank disintegrated on the bike. I've never seen that happen in all the years I've been riding. I've never seen a crank like let go in that spectacular fashion, except for on a KX450, where the guy had just like fired it up and then just started pegging it right off the bat, and it puked out the bottom contents of its engine. There we go. So I take it back up there. It's back in the shop. They have a long lead time on parts. And tell me, sorry, this is gonna take like 2+ months to fix everything else. So given that I had like barely had the bike functional for any period of time, I decided to see what Texas had to say about that. And let me tell you, you folks in California, for all the terrible things your state inflicts on you as far as like anti-motorcycle legislation, your lemon law is absolutely amazing compared to Texas. Texas' idea of lemon law is you have to like basically prove beyond a shadow of a doubt that the bike has manufacturing issues. So essentially you've got to wait with a dead bike for almost 2 months and prove that during the time of ownership it's been largely non-functional. The burden of evidence for a lemon law in Texas is kind of crazy, and you've still got to go to court over it generally. So you've got to go hire a lawyer, which would be about $3,000. Unless you win, then the other person generally pays in Texas. A loser pays in Texas, which that's kind of a nice aspect. But goodness, I'm gonna have to find me a impact wrench to get this off. Whew. Okay, well, that's a little daunting. I'm curious how this is going to peel out of there. I am going to have to take the steering stabilizer off. So anyhow, I owned the bike roughly 6 weeks and got to use it for a total of 4 hours. So Texas awarded me a lemon law and the dealership bought back the KTM. The only other KTM I've ever owned is a 1999, 2000, one of the two. It was a Jack Pinner edition KTM. It was a blue KTM 200, Jack Pinner edition. And that bike was honestly pretty awesome. Need to eat my Wheaties this morning apparently. The only issue I had with that bike was the PDS suspension wasn't quite sorted on that generation of bikes. So it was a little bit of a nightmare to ride. I mean, I had a KTM 200 at the time too. And for as much as people complain about the suspension on the KTM 200 stock, it was so predictable compared to this PDS suspension. Oof. I have to clean that off a little bit. So like, the bike was good, but it was kind of like riding an unguided missile most of the time, is how it felt. I just couldn't get it to handle in a predictable way. And I mean, I sent that bike off to get professionally done up, because I mean, seriously. But back then, back when I was actually competent at riding a bike, I had a good thing going with a lot of local dealerships, so I could get a lot of my labor for a substantial discount or free sometimes, depending on what was going on. Anywho, so I'd had a jack pinner out. I mean, funny enough, I was actually slower on most tracks on the jack pinner than I was on the KDX. Alright, I'm gonna have to take these straight off. Mainly because it was just a lot of bike to handle. So I'll read like the Facebook groups and used to lurk on the forums and stuff. And the first mods people would do would be, you know, engine hop-up mods, Oh, my bike's slow and I've got to put on like a $600 exhaust and You know, just like reading over all this. I'm sitting here thinking, the first thing you should do to any bike is go out and get a good set of dirt tires for your region. The second is gear it in a way where it kind of reacts the way you want to. Enough low end, enough top end. And then get all of the stuff to protect the bike. All of your guards, your hand guards, your radiator guards, especially your radiator guards, those are very important. Oh yeah, give me a little screwdriver. I forgot about the kill switches on these. Be right back. Anywho, where were we? Now, as I said, the first things you always want to do to a bike is properly protect it. So grab Armor All. No, I'm just kidding. Don't Armor All your bike. Getting eaten up by mosquitoes out here. That's the other thing I miss about having a garage, a little bit of protection from the elements. Oh yeah. And I run the same grips on all my bikes, these Pro Grip 714s, I believe. Mainly because they dampen fairly well for hand guards. So yeah, I took my Flexx bars off of the WR because frankly it really doesn't vibrate that much, and I suspect that my hand cramp issues are more so due to my pinched ulnar nerve than to vibration. And that bike really doesn't vibrate. Now this thing was driving me nuts. It was very vibey. Whoop! Presto changeo. Well, this is some light bars. Yeah, this thing is about twice the weight of these Pro Tapers. And that in itself, with more mass, will help deaden some of the vibration. Physics loves company. Wonder where I'm gonna fix that to. Oh, anyhow, I'm not really concerned about that. That's kind of a window dressing sort of deal. Na, 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 na. Now we have the other video where I was putting on the steering damper bar. This little crossbar so I could fit a dampener under it. Let's see how well this actually works. So when you're doing this, don't cinch everything down, just get it just tight enough to hold stuff in place. That's why I basically just do, well, normally I'll do 2 on the same side, but this might prove to be a problem later on. Basically, I just want the bars kind of held in place while I'm putting everything else on, so I'm just not constantly knocking it out of adjustment. And you'll do all the fine tuning once you have all of your stuff back on the bars, but still. That might prove to be problematic. There we go. And the bar's kind of locked in place. I'll start putting stuff back on. First off, I'm gonna have to get this throttle locked down. So when you plan to put on guards, make sure you leave yourself about 1/16 of an inch of clearance so your grip has somewhere to go. And you're wondering why I brought out the Rave hairspray. That'll be more clear here in a second. I need to get a better vantage point on that. Whew. Sorry, I had to wipe my sweat out. It's 8:30 in the morning and already starting to get oppressively hot. All right, feller. Reason it's good to have your kill switch very nearby is just in case your throttle gets stuck or anything else, you have this to kind of fall back on as a safety measure. So eventually I get the E-start. E-start's likely going there, or a light switch, and then E-start over here. We'll see what goes on. Light switch doesn't have to be as readily available. I'm kind of curious to see what this number plate's going to do about this, though. Kind of seems like it's like an ill fit. Yeah, I know I'm not using any thread locker, but I have a feeling that the vibration on this bike's about to be tamed a whole lot. I also put in the soft elastomers, which you guys didn't see in that video because I already had them apart. I'm kind of like, you know, most of folks just recommend using the soft elastomers anyway. So I'm like, well, you know what? People far better than me at this are recommending it. I should go ahead and give it a shot. Last owner of this bike, though, did do a lot of nice work to it. And yeah, I'm not putting on the hand guards yet, which I have a feeling this is also going to interfere with that because the hand guards mount right there. So I have a feeling I'm actually going to need to trim this off. Maybe I can get it to fit under here. looks like that might work. It looks a little unhappy. Well, I plan to replace this with a light anyway. Okay, that's not seeming to really want to get under there. Well, we'll just solve this problem later. Ooh, yeah. Whew. This is basically where I want everything. That's a little concerning, but we'll see what goes on. Well, anywho, so that's kind of some of the backstory behind a couple of my bikes. Yeah, I might have to go grab a extension and such. It's proving to be a little more interesting than I expected, and I kind of don't like interesting. Well, let's see if this will work. Oh. Well, not the best. Well, it will allow me to quickly tighten them down if it would stop popping out every few seconds. Maybe I'll have enough. There we go. Yeah, I just gotta. Alright, that's about set the way I like it. I'm gonna double check this arrangement for the throttle though. Normally I would expect this throttle tube to be up over this. Kind of strikes me as odd. Oh man, I am like a smorgasbord for these freaking mosquitoes out here. Alright, I've got the fast flex bars on. Toss on the steering stabilizer. And yeah, actually this fast flex product does allow you to fit it with a very scant amount of consternation. However, that's going to be a problem. How am I going to tighten it with these bars directly in the way? Am I seriously going to have to peel these this crossbar off to do that? It's kind of a headache. Yeah, there's no way I can reach it. Well, that's an unfortunate turn of design. Well, let's go grab the snap rings and deal with it. Well, apparently my GoPro battery was kind of leaving a little bit to be desired. It was on its way out. So to reference back to the crossbar installation video, which are no instructions for this, you're going to need to leave this doohickey off while you put it on. Alright. And I need to reposition this throttle. Apparently it was upside down originally, or I put it back on upside down. Who knows? Hey, you guys probably know. You'll probably see it in the video and be like, come on, man. Pay attention. Alright. It's nice and tight. Should have got some off before I came out here. I'm dying. I'm going to lose a pint of blood working on this bike. I'll have to get an orange juice and a cookie afterwards. Alright, one last snug to make sure everything's on. And previous owner, Tyler, suggested 2 for everything. I actually tried setting it higher, and boy howdy, that made the steering very strange. I'm going to openly admit I've only ever used a Scott's dampener when I was like 14, when I was doing desert racing for a bit. So I'm kind of unused to how a bike handles with a steering dampener. Oh, goodness. I'm telling you, this thing locked down. I can't get this bar on. Oh, it appeared that's the case. Wow. Isn't this a bit of a pickle? I don't want to damage this thing trying to get the crossbar on. You know, some instructions of this would be really awesome, because this is actually kind of a design deal that's makes life a little difficult. I'm gonna loosen the bars and roll them forward a bit and see if I can buy some space with that. Deal is, it's a lot harder to adjust the bars back out and see how this thing tightened down. All right. Okay. You're gonna want a little looser. I need to get a new one of these. It's starting to wear out a bit. Okay, let's see if this helps get it back on. That degree of interference, though, kind of concerns me. If this is meant to clear the dampener, it should have no problem clearing the dampener. Alright, remember, flat side against the inside. Ah, dang it. Okay, since we're being a pain here. Okay, we got one side on fairly well. Well, it's actually turned into one of my usual videos where we have some sort of difficulty that we have to deal with. I'd actually let the Fast Flex folks, if they see this, to weigh in on this, because this is kind of a pain to deal with. I want to take a set of pliers after this to an actual set of pliers after this to squish it down enough to make it fit on there. Alright, where's something I can use kind of like a dead blow device? Ugh. Okay. So now let's set you back to... Apparently you can't be set over this knob, so we're going to have to keep the bars a little forward. A little more forward than I like. This bike's being a little forward with me. Oh goodness. Well, this is certainly presenting a pickle. I can't safely get this far enough in without potentially stripping it. Alright, well, I'm going to need to go on a tool hunt because I haven't had, pardon me, I'm wiping my face again, it's almost 100 degrees at 10 a.m. I'm going to have to go on a tool hunt and find me a socket hex because I can't fit my hex tool in there. So, be back in a few. Alright, so we had to cobble together some tools I had on hand here. Necessity is the mother of invention. Alright, crap. This is also why I miss having a garage. Had all these tools readily available instead of cobbling together and then dropping them in the leafy dirt. It makes them a lot harder to find. With the leafy dirt. That's true though, it's just leafy dirt. Probably takes another trip down to the dirt. Alright, so we're nearing the end of today's adventure. There'll be some more stuff that I eventually do, but for now, we're going to settle with what we've got done. I'll save the whole vibration test video for another day. Guess I should fix this real quick. Do. Fire ant biting me? No. Okay, so I did have this a bit upside down. We'll see though before I snug everything 100% back down. Oh, no, that's perfect. Got tons of room. Well, even I get confused on the reassembly sometimes. There we go. All right. So got the stabilizer on, got the bars on, everything adjusted pretty much to where it needs to be at. So we're reaching the end of this adventure. It's got our grips. So when you're looking for your grips to put on the throttle side, make sure you get your bigger one. Huh. That's intriguing. Okay, this is our throttle side, slightly bigger than that one. I always keep the spare one, just in case I have a new set of bars. So I have a bunch of like random hand grips all over the place. So we got Rave shampoo, or not shampoo, hairspray, shampoo. Now I'm thinking about what I'm gonna be doing right after sweating out here to death on this bike. So. Now, hairspray is kind of a good thing for two reasons. One is it acts like a lubricant as you put your grip on. And two, once it dries, it acts like glue once the grip dries. And it's a lot more reliable than bar or hand grip glue. All right. We hit the stop. We'll basically just let that dry for like 30 minutes to an hour. And that'll be locked in place. So, it's a magic deal. Rave. And I generally like to leave the end of the throttle tube on while it's drying, so it just has a slightly better hold whenever it gets around to it. I'm gonna need to readjust these. So, it's kind of long and short of it. Anywho, that's pretty much it for the video. I know this is a long video, but we did do a little bit of good troubleshooting here. We got some useful stuff done. Made some new friends, learned a lesson. Decided to be better neighbors. Made good friends there. We're good neighbors. But yeah, I'm gonna apologize. This is the best I could do since everything's kind of closed down for the heat. And I'm a bit broke. Gotta work with what I've got left. So, if you like the content, like and subscribe. If you don't, feel free to criticize me harshly. I also take payments and attaboys. And hopefully, the next time I see you guys, we'll be hitting the woods on either this or the WR. I have a sneaking suspicion it's actually going to be the WR that we hit the woods on next. Just setting my levers. Well, anywho, see you on the next one.